I am Stan Bindell for Preserving Arizona Wilderness, and today we are in the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness, which is the second largest canyon in all of Arizona, second only to the Grand Canyon. And it may be harder to go from one end of this canyon to the other than it is to go rim to rim, because I haven't known anybody who has done it. This is the 5th episode in our series of Preserving Arizona Wilderness, and today we're on the Parsons Trail. Join me as we go on this journey of hiking and environmental protection along with recreational opportunities. Today's episode on Sycamore Canyon Wilderness is sponsored by the Sierra Club. Arizona has 90 designated wilderness areas. Wilderness areas are designated by Congress and protected from development and motorized vehicles. Each is special in their own way, as they range from the desert to the high mountains and have a variety of animal and bird life, as hiking, nature photography, and birding, along with fishing, are among the recreational activities. Sycamore Canyon was designated a wilderness in 1972. Sycamore Canyon Wilderness contains more than 50,000 acres of colorful cliffs, soaring pinnacles, and a desert riparian area. Parsons Springs Trail, which we're on today, is a riparian area that makes this area come alive with cottonwoods, sycamores, scrub oaks, manzanita, hackberry, desert honeysuckles, and wild grapes. The vegetation brings out golden eagles, mountain lions, badgers, great blue herons, and black bear. The elevation of Parsons Trail is 375 feet, dropping to 3,671 feet, with most of the descent toward the beginning of the trail before it becomes mostly flat.
Yeah, you notice though that sign and this sign say exactly the same. Well, I've been coming to this trail for probably 20 years. It's a beautiful trail. You can go back, I think it's 3.74 miles. It's one of those trails that sometimes you have a trail that is 3.7 and it feels like 5, and sometimes you have one that's long and seems shorter. This one is it requires a bit of hiking, and there's some beautiful things that back here. There's something called Blue Hole. It's a swimming hole. There's a spring. There's a cave back here, an old mining cave.
I've been coming here for approximately 30 years, at least, I'd say. And it's a very diverse ecosystem here, lots of different vegetation, and of course the water also attracts lots of wildlife. So you can have hawks and eagles and hummingbirds and woodpeckers, and we have about 180 species of birds that have been reported in this area.
The cliffs that you see above are limestone and red sandstone.
Within the sandstone and the limestone sedimentary rocks that make up the canyon here in Sycamore Canyon, we also have some basalt flows here as well. So this is a nice columnar basalt formation here. It could be a place for swallows to nest. While the trees are still dormant, we can readily see the evergreen large leaf mistletoe there. A lot of people have a bad feeling about mistletoe, but mistletoe is an important ecological component of the Southwest. Birds will feed on these. It's kind of amusing to me because when I first came here, these trees were not blocking the view of the cliff. So we had a nice, good, easy view. These trees have really grown up now and are blocking almost half of the basalt cliff.
I'm leaning against this velvet ash tree with this beautiful background of Sycamore Creek and the cascading waters. And I'm told this is a wonderful place to take a dip when it's warm enough. That's probably one of the reasons why it's been written up in several hiking books, and it's known to be among the best riparian areas in the state.
So flooding is a natural occurrence in these riparian habitats. Riparian is a noun that means a habitat that's associated with water. So flooding is natural. Perhaps it's become more extreme in recent years. I was standing right here when I looked at the creek here and said, wow, the water level has really gone down a lot. But that's not true. I'm actually standing on about 3 feet of brand new flood alluvium soil here. So that's a lot of flooding, and we will see upstream even more dramatic example of what flooding can do here in a river system like this. Alluvium, or is a plural that means is really anything that gets washed down by water. This is where the trail used to be. So again, like I said, flooding is a natural occurrence here in these southwestern canyons. In 2020, we had a prolonged period of extreme drought. And then in 2021, in June of 2021, there was the Raphael fire up canyon. And then that was just before we had 4 months of above normal rainfall. And so in 2021, we had some really outstanding flooding in here. And that's where all this large deposit of flood debris landed, right where the trail used to go through. It's really spectacular.
I'm standing in the middle of this sycamore tree to show you the height and the width of it, and it's just beautiful. It's one of many trees, including mesquite and hackberry, that dot the trail to give you shade. Nothing better than sitting in the middle of a creek. This water is actually coming out of summer spring, which we're going to get to in about 1/10 of a mile. But what I want you to look at is look at how clear the water is. This water is just bubbling up, and it's just absolutely beautiful and clear. The other thing is it's got watercress in it. Watercress is what you put in your salad. So if somebody can bring me some Italian dressing right now, I'd really be grateful. The other thing I should say is even though the water is clear, they suggest that you treat it, that you don't drink it directly because you don't want to get giardia. Even though we're at the end of winter, the water is actually, it's cool, but it's not freezing cold. So you can just really enjoy this place. I'm sitting here by the headwaters of Summer Spring, and I can see a little bit of it bubbling up, and this is what leads to where we were a minute ago with the clear water, and the water's fairly clear here as well. But the other two things that stand out about this is it looks like a forest in here, and I don't know if you could hear it, but I could hear bees.
As far as I know, they're all Africanized, so if you run into a hive, keep walking.
So this is a beautiful spot for nature, and it's another reason why we live by the hiker's creed of leave no trace. So if you pack it in, please pack it out. Hikers and backpackers have a choice of at least 15 trails in the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness. Sycamore Canyon Wilderness also has a historic building on it on the Taylor Cabin Trail. Sycamore Canyon Wilderness is managed by 4 separate ranger districts of 3 different national forests. This wilderness has plenty to offer in terms of beauty and responsible recreation. I always get excited when we see these wilderness signs because it means that we're entering the wilderness area and that these areas have been preserved, and it's because they're beautiful. Tell me what wilderness means to you.
Thanks, Stan. That's exactly right. The original charter for wilderness in the United States includes the notion that people are visitors here. Respect is always called for, no matter where you are.
Wilderness areas are rare wild places set aside by Congress where the land is allowed to retain its natural state, serving as a natural haven for humans to escape modern civilization and for nature to be itself. To help minimize impacts in wilderness and in maintaining its characters, several laws and regulations have been put in place. This is the first crossing that we came to, and when we crossed, it went almost up to our knees. So if you're going to cross the creek, you have to make sure that you're willing to get wet. Visitors to the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness can enjoy solitude, trails for hiking, horseback riding, red rocks, pinnacles, buttes, and arches. wildlife viewing, swimming, and history, Native American ruins, and historical buildings.
This cave has been back here a long time. It's an old miner's cave. If you go back in, there's mining infrastructure, rails, rebar. At one time, when they quit mining, they blocked it all up. But as you can see from the rocks around here, enterprising people have come and unblocked it. It's a very interesting cave, but don't go in by yourself.
Trails in the Sycamore Canyon Wilderness include Sycamore Canyon Northeast Trail System on Coconino National Forest Flagstaff Ranger District, Sycamore Canyon Southeast Trails on the Coconino National Forest Red Rock Ranger District, trails on the western side of Sycamore Canyon Wilderness on the Prescott National Forest, and the Sycamore Rim Trail in Kaibab National Forest. This is the second water crossing, again going up to about our knees when we crossed it, moving a little faster than the other one, and this is called the Blue Hole. Not sure why it's called that, but people use this. This is a little bit deeper and used more for swimming, and this is actually the flower that is off the watercress. So you can eat the watercress and look at the flower.
In back of me is Blue Hole. Blue Hole is the main reason that people come up Parsons Trail. It's a spring-fed blue hole. It's very deep in places, and people jump off the cliffs up there, or they swim, or they just lay around in the sun. And it's just a really beautiful place.
Some of Arizona's wilderness areas are remote, while some are close to cities. Parsons Trail is close to Clarkdale. The U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the National Park Service are mandated to protect these wilderness areas. Other groups like the Wild Arizona and Sierra Club help protect them as well. These areas are worth preserving for the beauty they behold, including the landscapes, animals, and birds. But the question remains, what would happen to these lands if they were not protected? Just another reason to make sure you pack out all your trash, live by the hiker's creed of leave no trace. Dogs are allowed on the trail, but should be leashed. And now a word from our sponsor, the Sierra Club. The movement to declare the Upper Verde River wild and scenic has widespread support both throughout Yavapai County and nationally. The designation only comes from Congress, and the Wild Verde River Coalition has been working on this for years. Many in the coalition have been working on it for more than 10 years. The Wild Verde River Coalition used an April 5th Wild Rivers film tour at the Oaks Theater in Prescott to raise funds for urging Congress to support the measure. Anyone who has been to the Upper Verde River wants to return to enjoy its recreation and national beauty. The designation of the Upper Verde River would protect the river in 5 ways. First, banning dams and water development projects. Second, ensuring water quality. Third, protecting outstanding values such as scenery, culture, recreation, and wildlife. Fourth, making sure the river has the minimum flow necessary to maintain the water's outstanding values. And fifth, requiring the Forest Service to develop a comprehensive river management plan. The designation does not restrict development on private lands, does not impact livestock grazing, does not prohibit motorized vehicles, does not impact hunting or fishing, does not impact water rights, and does not affect access for recreation. Wild and scenic river status is no small thing. A stream must be truly remarkable to earn the national designation. The Upper Verde River and its tributaries are textbook examples of why Congress created the Wild and Scenic Rivers Act in 1968. Bills of this nature sometimes take years to be successful, but the coalition is hoping that the resounding local support for the designation will lead to the designation more quickly. So we urge you to contact your congressman to ask them to support the designation of the Upper Verde River as wild and scenic.